Hello again, this is CK7 with another commentary for Disney Heroes vs. Villains, Round 6. We start off with the prologue, where Peter Pan and Robin Hood get ready for their prison break. Yeah, I will say that scene was pretty disgusting. And they go their separate ways to Prince John and Robin Hood. Prince John and Frollo's castles, I guess. And John Silver is still reluctant about his encounter with Jim. And then Zurg comes in and has a new job for him. And they're heading for Earth. And the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Mice have found Ratigan's lair. Where they're hoping to find Stitch. I will say this music, it is pretty creepy, but at the same time, it's beautiful, but in a very creepy way. I would say that part was actually pretty creepy, with Fidget just popping out of the crib. And then they are ambushed by Ratigan. Alright, now we have Kenai, Koda, and Bambi versus the Black Bear. You know, this is interesting, because this has to be the first time that the Black Bear from The Fox and the Hound has made it in 2 rounds, because it usually only appears in 1 round because of how little footage it has. Because, yeah, Yzma released the bear in Sabor, and the bear finds Kenai and Koda and goes after them. This was a well-edited fight, and of course it makes perfect sense. You know, they're all bears and all. And then there's Bambi to the rescue. And I will say, about, the thing about the bear is that, yes, it's the main... it's not the main villain, but it is a villain in The Fox and the Hound, but it's not really evil. It's an instinct villain, is what I would call it, because when an animal villain talks, it is evil, you know, like Scar or Shere Khan or whatever. But when an animal villain doesn't talk, they're not really considered evil. You know, like the bear from The Fox and the Hound, or like Sharptooth from The Land for Time, even though that's not Disney. Or in the case of Disney's dinosaur, the Carnotaurus, the Velociraptors, and the Oviraptor, they're all villains, but none of them talk, they're just doing what comes natural. Or like the T-Rex from Fantasia is another example. But yeah, and speaking of Disney's dinosaur, when you get to a CGI realm, if you do, you think you might be able to use the heroes and villains from Disney's Dinosaur? Because I would really like that. And Bambi comes to the rescue. And like History Buff, I'm going to have to say, when I first heard you were going to use Bambi, I was like, how are you going to use him? Because, he's Bambi. Yeah, there are villains in Bambi, Rano, the man, and Man's dog. But they're only minor villains in the movie, not anything major. Yeah. A nice use of the log from both movies. That was very well edited. And I will say, even though, Bambi was one of my favorite Disney classics, and I think it still is, but I am liking what you're doing with Bambi so far. And where did Faline come from? Are they mates at this point or something? Alright, anyway. Scar is glad about Alameda Slim's success in capturing Timon and Pumbaa. Wait, did he capture Timon and Pumbaa, or did they escape or something? I don't know. So now Scar sends Zira to defeat some 3 cows, Maggie, Grace, and Miss Calloway. Yeah, when I first heard you were doing this fight, I wasn't sure how is it exactly going to work, because, I mean, it's a prod of lionesses against 3 cows. So, yeah. And Home on the Range, I mean, it was okay, I guess. I mean, it wasn't really one of the best Disney films, but, I mean, I don't hate it, because like I keep saying, I mean, or at least I think I keep saying, it's just hard for me to hate a Disney film, because it's Disney. So, yeah. This is still well edited fight, and of course, both fight-wise and environment-wise. A nice use of the flooding water. Yeah, sorry, I got a runny nose right now. Something that happens to me in the morning sometimes. I'm just wondering, are we going to see the cows again in the future or something? Because, I mean, yeah, I don't know. And now we go to the prison break, where Prince John, Captain Hook, and the Queen of Hearts are all just sitting there. And Tinkerbell just gives away the surprise. And there's the Lost Boys. And I guess some people would consider that cheating right there, because Peter Pan and Captain Hook already fight each other, but you do have Prince John and the Queen of Hearts as well, so it's not really completely cheating. And of course, the Lost Boys free the prisoners. And Tinkerbell goes after the Queen. Nice editing there. And Alice and Pinocchio are free. And I'm guessing Professor Porter is also free, because we didn't see him right here, but I guess he got free off screen. And of course, we still see Captain Hook's bumbling side in the series. Alright, now we have Phoebus versus Shan Yu. Funny how Phoebus had to free himself, unlike the other prisoners. And of course, there's Shan Yu, who scares the daylights out of Phoebus. And Esmeralda pops out of nowhere and rescues Phoebus. Now we have Robin Hood versus Pete. It's still amusing how there's a prison break going on and the Sheriff of Nottingham is still sleeping. Well, at least Pete is aware of what's happening. And again, another hero gets surprised by the villain. And then there's the Beagle Boys and these weasels from The Prince and the Pauper. And like Isabel pointed out, I have noticed that when pretty much everyone uses Pete, they use footage from The Prince and the Pauper and The Three Musketeers. You hardly see footage of him from anything else. Even though he's not really from a lot of movies, he's mostly from like old Disney cartoon shorts and all that. But he appears in like a Goofy movie, even though he's not really a villain in that. And like a Goof Troop is another thing. He's still not really a villain. I mean, not exactly. And he has scenes in House of Mouse. So yeah. Seriously, how does the mother forget her baby? I mean, I know rabbits breed like rabbits and all that, but still. And you know, every time I watch Robin Hood, besides that, I always wonder, how come Robin doesn't just squeeze himself through that? I mean, isn't he skinny enough to fit through one of those... Yep, those gapes in the gate, or something like that? And they have captured Robin Hood, unfortunately. Now we have Zeus versus Eric Holstrom, or Odin. as he's referred to as in the movie. And he summons the oh yeah, Hades was watching. And of course he summons his they're not called Titans in the movie, they're called something else. Like I think it's like the Fire Lord and the Ice Lord of Chaos, I think is what they're called. It's been a while since I've seen Atlantis Smiler's Return. Yeah. You know, I remember that in the last round we saw Hades summon the 5 sequel villains, and so far we've seen 2 of them get a fight, so we still need to see Saluk, Marina Del Rey, and Sarouche get a fight. Yeah. Nice editing here with both of the Fire Lord and the Ice Lord as the Titans. And Zeus has been defeated. Now we have Pongo and Perdita versus Edgar. The 2 Dalmatian parents go through the Twilight Bar to go and find their Dalmatian puppies that have been captured by Cruella. And they find the Great Dane, who tell them about Cruella capturing the puppies. And they find Edgar, who they believe is working with Cruella, and decide to follow him. So yeah, this is very well edited and all, I have to say. And of course we have, like, right here, Napoleon and Lafayette, the 2 dogs from the Aristocats. Seriously, how is it that Pongo and Perdita got out first? Versus the Edgar, and that he still escapes? And of course they continue the bar, which Napoleon and Lafayette hear this. Yeah, I just wonder, how are you going to use these dogs? I mean, they don't have that much footage in the Aristocats. Although, I will say, when I was a kid, these 2 dogs were probably my favorite characters in the movie. And I'm guessing these 2 follow Pongo and Perdita to help them find the puppies. Okay, now we get to, Stitch and all the mice and characters versus Ratigan. Seriously, like History Buff, I'm also confused. How is Lilo and Dumbo afraid of Ratigan? I mean, he's a rat. I mean, he's only like a few inches tall. I mean, couldn't Lilo just pick him up and drop kick him across the room or something? That would have been funny as heck. And then when he landed, Dumbo could step on it or crush him with his ears? I don't know. See, it did kind of confuse me. But this was still a well-edited fight and all, I'll have to say. And, whoa, back up for a second. Get up. Hold on. When I first, saw this fight right here, and, hold on, you'll see what I mean in a sec. Yeah, right here. This is what, I was like, what? I mean, you cheater? Or at least that's what my reaction was when I first saw this, because it's called Disney Heroes vs. Villains. In other words, you're supposed to be using footage from Disney films, not non-Disney films. And I noticed that you used 2 scenes from 2 different non-Disney movies. This scene with the gun from Wizards, and this scene right here, the exploding laboratory from The Secret of M2, Timmy to the Rescue. You cheater. But I guess you couldn't find any more footage, so I guess it's no big deal. Seriously, Ratigan, how are you gonna kill her? Are you gonna bite her and give her rabies or something? I mean, you're not Rabbit. Are you? Well, you might be. Yeah, it's really hard to use Ratigan in these series. He is a popular Disney villain, but it's just so hard to use him because there's just not that many opponents that are small enough for him. Or, like, I had this idea, when you get to Part 2, if there's going to be a Part 2, and you use television villains, and if Ratigan is still going to be around, you know, if he's still alive then, maybe the Gentle Mice can ally with some small animal characters from the TV shows, you know, like, Rufus the Naked Mole Rat from you know, Kim Possible, or Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb. That'd be an idea. And finally, we have Simba versus Shere Khan, which this isn't even a fight, it's just more like an epilogue piece. And seriously, does Simba know Shere Khan is a villain, but thinks Tarzan is a bigger threat, or does he not even know Shere Khan and think he's trying to help? I don't know. And that reminds me, where's Mowgli, Baloo, and Bagheera in all this? Because we only saw them, like, once, back in round 2, I think it was. So where are they? Are we going to see them again? Because, like, I have this idea, maybe Mowgli hears about the Simba-Tarzan rivalry and stops the two from fighting and tells them that it was all a trick that Scar and Shere Khan was playing on them. I mean, that's an idea, I thought. If it works out, that is. Now for the epilogue, where the mice tell Lilo and Stitch goodbye, and the Lilo and Stitch tell the mice for good travels and good luck to capture Ratigan. And Gantu, Warp, Dark Matter, and John Silver and Zurg have all reached Earth. Ratigan is still ticked about his defeat, but is allied with Hamstaville, which is interesting. They're both small villains, but except they're still pretty different. And Robin Hood is presented to the Horned King, who decides to come up with a harsh punishment for him. And Peter Pan and Alice find Jim Hawkins lying in front of a chimney. Interesting alliance here. You know, oh, that was weird. I had this idea, and I may have gave this to you on the Villains War forum, that for a sad cutscene you can do is of Jim explaining to Peter and Alice of when his father left him and his mother behind, and also about him and John Silver as well. Sorry. Like I said, I still have a bit of a cold here. Allergies and all that. I mean, it was an idea for a sad cutscene. And Esmeralda and Phoebus are there with some of the prisoners and all. Like, of course, there's Little John and Maid Marian. And these two guys, I mean, you know I'm pretty good with Disney characters, but these two guys, I keep forgetting their names. I know they're from the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. And speaking of which, are you going to use the Headless Horseman? Because, like, maybe Dr. Facilier might summon him or something like that. And there's Lady Cluck. How are these two dealing with talking animals anyway? And Frollo is really impressed of Shan Yu's success in defeating Phoebus and tries to recruit him, but he doesn't know that Shan Yu is already recruited by the evil Queen Griphild. And seriously, we need to see more of Facilier in this series, because he still has a lot of footage. And what about the heroes from The Princess of the Frog? We haven't seen them yet. And of course we have Pongo and Perdita teaming up with the dogs and cats, like Dodger and his gang, and Little Oliver, and then there's Lady and Tramp, and the Alley Cats, and Pluto, who is still Mrs. Mickey, and in the forest, Bambi sees Grandmother Willow, who summons a spirit for Bambi to look after. This, I thought, was the most epic part of this epilogue right here, because this character, I mean, okay, when I first heard the series, there were a few characters that did cross my mind, but I was never sure if they were going to make it, you know, like Bambi and Dumbo, because, you know, they're Bambi and Dumbo. But the Spring Sprite from Fantasia 2000, she never crossed my mind to appear in this series. And that gives Bambi a whole lot of potential, and, like, this is what got me excited know what you have planned for Bambi and the Sprite. And I'm going to have to agree with History Buff. If they do make a Disney and non-Disney heroes versus Disney and non-Disney villains, which I hope they do, the Sprite could fight Hexes, because I think it would work out perfectly. And I had this idea for that kind of a spin-off, that for an epilogue, for a very epic part for an epilogue, that Mach, who is capturing the Disney and non-Disney princesses, and then the princess see Mach and are all horrified at his appearance, and then he just does his very epic laugh or something like that. I think that would be very epic to see. So, yeah, I'm really excited to know what you have for store for Bambi. So yeah, this is my commentary for Disney Heroes vs. Villains, Round 6, and I can't wait till Round 7 comes out, which should be any time now.